The manhwa starts with a father asking his daughter for help, saying, "Please rescue us. It's your old father's final plea." The mother later questions the daughter, expressing concern about sacrificing oneself to save everyone and wondering how she can make her father kneel. His brother remarks, "Do you intend to shame the family that brought you up? Put in some effort to uphold our name. After all, you're destined to become a hero someday." Reflecting on her family's comments, she privately muses, "Tedious. People were uttering meaningless chatter. Irritating." Her mother adds, "Do you believe it's right for me to offer up my daughter, whom I've raised with affection and indulgence? Nevertheless, now is your opportunity to reciprocate." She retorts, "By spoiled, do you mean tossing me into a frigid room and abandoning me? My family members are incredibly dense, even when they reach for the sky." Internally, she ponders, "Indeed, not just once or twice. It happens like this sometimes. Why are they so attached to me?" Finally, she declares, "Don't fret. Let's aim for 500 likes on today's video. To show your support, consider subscribing to the channel." She asserts, "I'll offer you my life." She reflects, "For I am the sole human capable of averting the world's demise. I am the reincarnated individual who has experienced 99 distinct lives. With each life, a mysterious power continues to amass. Preserving the world by sacrificing my life wasn't a significant issue. It's not that I lament my life now. I simply dislike witnessing individuals devoid of conscience constantly claiming credit for everything." His contemplation is disrupted as his father expresses his gratitude. "She is, after all, my daughter. Thanks to you, our family can survive." Internally, she reasoned that engaging in an ineffective family game was futile. Outwardly, she declared, "Now, you all must kneel. Shouldn't you pay that steep price adequately? I implore someone to safeguard that wretched existence I will never witness again." Spotting a newspaper swirling outside, her father inquired, "What's that?" Seizing one of the newspapers, he remarked, "What is this article?" As he observed himself in the picture, her father was taken aback when a servant exclaimed from behind, "It's a substantial issue, my lord." The imperial soldiers insisted on verifying the details of the article and proceeded to enter the palace. Concurrently, she employs her magic to soar away. Her father yelled, "Descend immediately. How dare you? Do you believe you can escape without sullying your family's honor? You lack any sense of decorum." She privately mused, "Being outside his family is an improvement." Recollecting her first life, she remembered how her parents, considering starting a family as a mere item on life's agenda, saw having only one child as inadequate and thus brought her into the world as their second. Nevertheless, she and her brother experienced a neglected upbringing. Despite lacking affection from her family, she harbored a profound love for people. Owing to her dissimilarity to her parents, her friends were the first to recognize her kind-hearted nature. Regrettably, she never had the opportunity to relish completing her college entrance exam and saying goodbye to life. At the age of 20, she made the decision to save her friend's life instead of her own. The subsequent life unfolded in a world teetering on the edge of destruction. Everyone was driven toward death, holding onto the belief that it was the sole salvation to avert the impending catastrophe. Perhaps it stemmed from her self-sacrifice for friends in her initial life. On each occasion, the expectation persisted that she should sacrifice herself for the sake of others. She clung to hope until her fifth or sixth life, anticipating a change each time. Yet, after 99 repetitions, it grew wearisome. In this instance, she harbored no remorse in her existence. The chance to avert destruction had slipped away, and witnessing the world plunge into chaos was even more disconcerting. Soaring through the air, she elicits questions from onlookers, prompting them to ask one another, "What is that?" Concurrently, an elderly woman engages in prayer, reflecting on her own musings. Despite her formidable power, she senses culpability for not rescuing others. Recognizing her own insensitivity, She articulates her wish to never witness such devastation again, yearning for the prolonged survival of the children. Reflecting on the years that have elapsed, she acknowledges she can no longer claim to be 20, for 17 years have transpired. Contemplating whether she led an ordinary life, she yearns for a conclusion. Despite harboring minimal expectations, she reiterates her straightforward desire. Embracing her 99th demise, she has come to terms with it. Abruptly, a nurse's voice reaches her ears, extending congratulations and revealing that she has just delivered a baby girl. She is in disbelief, unable to fathom that this could mark her 100th birth. She had yearned for it all to come to an end. Contemplating the significance of the number 100, she acknowledges the absurdity that has defined her life. Resolving to adjust and maintain composure despite her failing eyesight, she notes the maid's observation that the baby girl resembles Madame. She speculates on the possibility of noble lineage for her birth. Internally, she questioned, "Do I come from a noble family?" "Let's remain composed, as I cannot use my powers until my first birthday," the maid remarked while gazing at her. "So cute." The maid exclaimed, "Master, are you here? She's a beautiful daughter." Internally, baby questioned, "If he is the master, is he her father?" The instant she saw the face of the person addressed as her father, she pondered, "This life has been destroyed too." She wondered to herself, what could it be this time? Neglect, abuse, a child who received a foreboding prophecy, or do they die as soon as they are born? Until this world falls apart again, she felt helpless. Must she witness everything, a life crumbling before her eyes? Just like dust, her soul felt entangled. It was unbelievable that she had to witness it all, like a scene from a never-ending nightmare. She had to keep watching until the world ran out. She would rather live and experience all the pain herself. Her thoughts were interrupted when his father spoke, referring to their youngest. He expressed gratitude for the safe birth of their baby. She questioned to herself, "What is happening?" Her mother commented, stating that the baby is such a lovely daughter. She pondered to herself, "Why do they all have such happy faces?" "Isn't that a drastic change?" her mother remarked, exclaiming that the baby looks exactly like her. She thought to herself, "But I hope it's truly good. I wish for my 100th life to be calm and peaceful." His parents announced, naming the baby Anastasia. Anastasia, she thought to herself, "That's a pretty name." Her mother said, "You saved this world." "It's the name of a hero." She thought to herself, "Saved this world. It's the name of a hero." Flustered, she pondered, "Hero. Every time a hero's name is mentioned, I live the most gutter-like life. Boring. They will treat me like a hero again and make me sacrifice myself. I'm foolish to expect it to be different this time. It's sure to be even worse. It's annoying." 1 month after being born, amazingly, nothing happened. She was prepared, after they gave her a hero name. No, it's too early to relax. It was like that in her previous life too. They said she was a child with God's protection and the name of a hero, pretending to be nice to her. At last, they were afraid of her power and used to abuse her. It's like she's helpless in front of her parents, like she wants to be recognized. This time, her parents also named her after a hero. They will definitely force her to make sacrifices. She has no choice but to be on guard again. Still, she did what she could to find out about her surroundings. A person with jet black hair and bright red eyes. She is her mother in this life. When given a pat-pat by her mother, she falls asleep instantly. She has to be careful. If she shows any loopholes, she might be punished. And she has a wolf-like appearance, not suitable for a size like Teason. The person with pink hair is her father in this life. He often speaks in a strange voice in front of her. Is it a mental attack? And there are always people near the cradle, putting surveillance on a newborn baby. That's a scary family. And again, did they say he was a duke? It's more annoying if he's a noble. But what's going on? Anastasia heard her father shouting at the doctor. Wondering what the problem was, she thought to herself, "This is about me." He's angry because of me. Her father continued talking to the doctor, questioning why their youngest never cried or laughed. Anastasia thought to herself, so, you're causing this whole fuss just because I don't cry. Her father expressed frustration with the doctor, suggesting incompetence and the need to get rid of the useless head. Anastasia thought to herself, wait, what are you doing? You want to kill him because I don't cry. Is this a new kind of torture? In my previous life, you just didn't want to hear me cry. I didn't cry because my parents tried to kill me. Okay, let's pay attention. I have to survive first. The doctor assured her father that she was healthy, pleading for him to believe him just this once. Anastasia thought to herself, this makes me feel guilty. I can't help it. I'm healthy, so don't kill him. She started crying loudly, catching her father's attention. He turned her on with a smile on his face and said to Anastasia, my baby, you have such a strong and beautiful voice. Anastasia thought to herself, questioning why he was happy when bad things always happened when she cried loudly. She realized she needed to be on guard and couldn't help but cry. Then her sister with pink hair approached and spoke up, expressing disgust at their father's actions and questioning why he excluded her from this. Shocked, Anastasia thought to herself, no way, is this my older sister in this life? Anastasia thought to herself that since she was the youngest, she assumed she had brothers, but she had never encountered one before. So she was more worried than happy. She was worried because her siblings had special abilities that took away their parents' attention. She didn't like any of the other children, no matter how cute they were with their puffy cheeks, because if she got upset and cried, they would just take away her parents' attention even more. Her older sister, Laurentia, exclaimed, she's my little sister. How cute is she? Anastasia was surprised by this reaction. Laurentia continued, saying, wow, Lola also has a pretty little sister. She then turned to their dad and said, give the pudding to Shusha and Sipper. Their father, a little confused, asked, Shusha? Laurentia clarified, yes, Lara of Laurentia, Anastasia's Sasha. It's a set. Anastasia thought to herself, wait a minute, what is she doing now? Their father asked Laurentia, really, did you like our Anastasia too? Laurentia replied, yes, Daddy. The father then said, by the way, Dad knows how Laurentia feels. Anastasia is still young, so she can't eat pudding. So, wouldn't Anastasia like it if Laurentia ate it instead? Laurentia responded to their father, saying, but Shusha will be upset if Lola eats it alone. The father asked, why? Laurentia explained, in the past, Laura was sick and could only eat soup, so I was upset because I couldn't eat sherbet. Anastasia thought to herself, a child like her is worried that I might be upset. Laurentia then suggested, so you don't mind giving her just one bite? Anastasia thought to herself, if I eat that, I'll die. Well, please do something, father. Their father said, yeah, what? Oh, I see. Yeah, Dad is listening. Their dad had heard that Anastasia liked to eat delicious food. Laurentia asked, really? Anastasia pondered to herself when she would say those words. No, eat it for me, she thought. Laurentia apologized, saying, but I'm sorry. Then let her borrow, my dear. Father addressed Laurentia, stating, you can't sleep at night without it. Are you okay? Laurentia replied, fine. Shusha is my younger sister. Since I'm her sister, I'll lend it to her. Anastasia thought to herself, this is not it. I can't let down my guard. Don't be nice to me. Hate me like you've lived your entire life. Before Anastasia could continue her thoughts, Laurentia interrupted, saying, so you like rabbits? Or a tiger? Your sister will save everyone. Don't cry. Anastasia questioned herself, this isn't it. Why don't you hate me? Laurentia told Shusha, look at your sister. Shusha played peekaboo. Caught off guard, Anastasia smiled. Father remarked, unbelievable. Anastasia thought to herself, this isn't it. I was ruined. Anastasia laughed. The rumor spread that she saw her smile through her sister's peekaboo game. It seemed to spread quickly. The maid called out, lady, Look here, peekaboo, another maid chimed in. I can make even weirder faces. From that day on, the maids made strange faces when they were bored. Even the attending doctor tried his best. The doctor shared, when my daughter made this face when she was young, even when she cried, she would immediately burst into laughter. Of course, Anastasia's father also joined in. My youngest, Dad, is here. However, everyone was kicked out by Anastasia's mother. Let Anastasia rest, she insisted. Anastasia thought to herself, this is my first time doing something like this and I don't know what to do. If I had done this much, they would have given up or gotten angry. Then she glanced at her father, who was asking the maids, what do you think? Could this be funny? The doctor stated that they would work harder as well. Anastasia pondered to herself why they were putting in more effort, as she couldn't comprehend their reasoning. Later that afternoon, a young boy with pink hair asked if Anastasia was awake. Anastasia thought to herself that this person was definitely her older brother, Damien, who was 5 years older than her. Despite his young age, he was expected to be educated as the heir to the dukedom. She questioned why he had come to see her when she knew he was busy and also on the lookout list. Damien asked Anastasia why she was thinking like that with such a serious expression. He mentioned that her brother had brought a gift and wondered if she thought it would be all right. Anastasia thought to herself that it was weird how everyone was trying to do something for her and found it suspicious. Damien surprised her by revealing that the gift was her brother's tiger doll, which Laurentia had mentioned. Anastasia made a funny face when she smiled and Damien explained that they had both talked about their tiger dolls and how they had been together since childhood. He wanted to give it to Anastasia, even though it was lonely to be apart from it. Anastasia questioned why he was giving her something so precious. Damien said that he wanted to see their youngest sibling's smiling face as well. Anastasia thought to herself that they were giving her something precious just for that reason and wondered if everyone simply wanted to see her smile. She couldn't understand how important it was to them and found it ridiculous. However, she laughed in that moment. Damien exclaimed that she had truly laughed and referred to her as our Anastasia. Anastasia thought to herself that throughout her many lives, she had learned the hard way to always be on guard. However, she still hoped for a miracle of a good day to come to her at least once. Despite being disappointed numerous times, she wanted to continue looking forward. She thought about how important it was to protect a child's world. Finally, Anastasia concluded that, unless her family turned away, she would live with a little motivation from these people. The maids exclaimed, "Our youngest miss is so cute. She looks like a snow fairy." Her mother commented, "It looks like she is dressed like an angel. I will buy her everything from here. Pay the seamstress who made these clothes 4 times the price." The servant replied, "Yes, ma'am." Anastasia thought to herself, "What? I still can't get used to this atmosphere. It started with something I did a few weeks ago. Around that time, I was 5 months old. Finally, I now have a wider area to move around than just a cradle. Even though it's close to Bemmel, this is thanks to being able to crawl to some extent. It's still at the babbling level, but the conversation has improved considerably." Her thoughts were interrupted when her father said, "What? That's I love you, Dad." Anastasia continued with her thoughts. Communication was the only thing that couldn't be done. "I'm really an ordinary baby. Rather than being chased in fear of my life, it's just a matter of time. I'm doing my best. It's so peaceful that it's amazing. What's even more interesting is, this is my family," Laurentia said. "Sasha turn over." Her father responded, "Well, it's really like that." Damien said to his mom, "My youngest sister is very agile. I think she turns over faster than most babies." Their mother agreed. "I think you're right, Damien. The youngest must be a truly unusual child. Let's celebrate to commemorate Anastasia's first flip." So currently, the first flipping party in Anastasia's life was held. Anastasia thought, "By the way, I said it was a family-only party. How on earth did it get to this scale?" Damien said, "This is a gift for Anastasia," the doctor said. "I'm so touched that you're growing so healthy." One maid said to the other maid, "She is the youngest miss. I can't believe you did such a great job of flipping. The youngest lady is amazing." The maid replied, "It is a pleasure to serve the youngest lady." Anastasia thought to herself, "They say that when a party like this is held, bonuses are paid to users. It's only the baby's first roll over, so why make such a fuss?" As expected, this place seems a bit unusual. Everyone is overly affectionate. The more I worry about it later, the more I worry about it. Then she and her family watched the fireworks from the balcony. Her mother said, "Our Anastasia, in the future, just stay healthy like this and grow bigger." Anastasia thought to herself, in a positive way, "No need to succeed. All I have to do is to be healthy." What is that? It's so simple. The next day, Anastasia thought, "Yesterday was truly amazing. It's quiet today. After yesterday's party, the employees' year-end vacation has begun. There was only one maid assigned temporarily due to the vacation. I believe she was in her early to mid-teens. I'm dozing off. But it doesn't matter. A child needs to sleep well to grow well. Perhaps because it is a busy year-end, my parents also left the mansion early in the morning. My brother is taking an important class, and my sister fell asleep due to a cold." Anastasia thought, "Okay, I rarely get an opportunity like this. In times like this, I need to practice standing up at least a little. The goal is to climb up that sofa. I'm telling myself not to grow up too fast, but I feel like I want to walk right now. A little bit more." The maid lifted her and spoke, "Miss, are you having a good time?" Anastasia thought, "What? It's my first time seeing this face." The maid said, "Madam told me to bring the girl." Anastasia thought, "Did mother go out earlier? And this maid didn't even wake the maid in charge." Do you think I've experienced something like this once or twice? Even if it's a maid, it's too suspicious. No way. The maid said, "I will take good care of you." Anastasia thought, "Holy shit." Somehow it felt so peaceful. The maid said, "Please get some sleep." Upon waking up, Anastasia felt a sense of unease and confusion. She wondered what had happened and if she had been kidnapped. Thankfully, she realized she hadn't gone far and chastised herself for not being more cautious of her surroundings. She was relieved that it was just a kidnapping and not something more sinister like an attempt on her life. However, she couldn't help but feel a sense of loneliness, as she had almost lost everything once again. Determined to regain control, she contemplated the idea of investigating the person behind the kidnapping, even if it might be bothersome. She reminded herself that she possessed the ability to teleport, which could prove useful in this situation. Anastasia pondered whether this was a targeted crime against her noble family, or if someone had discovered her true power. Regardless, she was determined to uncover the truth. She wondered if it would be possible to resolve this situation within 3 days, as she didn't want to worry her family too much. She decided to send a message in their dream, reassuring them that she would return soon. Just as she was contemplating her next move, an arrow struck the kidnapper's leg, causing him to fall to the ground in pain. Confused, the kidnapper questioned what was happening. A young boy stepped forward and sternly told the kidnapper to be quiet, as Anastasia had a prior engagement with him that day. The kidnapper scoffed at the boy, dismissing him as just a child. However, Anastasia couldn't help but notice that she had never seen this boy before. Then the knight shouted that he had located them. The kidnapper realized he had been discovered and lamented how long it had been since he left the mansion. The boy warned the kidnapper that if he didn't want to lose anything, he should hand over Anastasia. Frustrated, the kidnapper pleaded for them to stop chasing him, claiming he had his own circumstances. The boy threatened to harm him if he made excuses for trivial reasons. Anastasia thought to herself, "He seems to be around the same age as my brother, but he speaks in a cruel way." But to dismiss it as mere bravado. The posture of holding the sword is very stable. Furthermore, he has magical powers. That's quite a bit of magical power. From swordsmanship to magic power. Who on earth is he? Oops, I'm crashing. Even if it's too much, I have to use protection magic, she thought. It doesn't hurt, the boy asked Anastasia. Are you okay? Were you very surprised? Are you hurt anywhere? Is it okay because you don't cry? Anastasia thought to herself. I'm fine. Seeing him let down his guard, he may have good skills, but he is still a child. Then it can't be helped. Then the kidnapper leaped to attack and Anastasia used her magic to stop the kidnapper. In confusion, the boy asked, What? I didn't do anything. He fell on his own. Anastasia thought to herself, as expected, not yet. I need to be careful about using too much force with my baby body. The boy said, Oh baby, you are surprised, you got cold. It's okay, it's okay. It will get warm soon. The knight arrived, saying, Princess, little Duke, were you both okay? Anastasia thought to herself, I don't think this will be very good. At the moment, Damien said in a worried voice, Anastasia, come to your senses. Your brother is here. The kidnapper pleaded to Damien, Lord, please, have mercy. There are circumstances. Please listen to me. Damien instructed the knights, drag him away until my father comes back. Investigate thoroughly. Anastasia's parents were discussing the situation between themselves, expressing their initial concerns about it being too early but now realizing the urgency. They agreed to proceed quickly for the sake of their children. Anastasia, in her thoughts, acknowledged her parents as she woke up. Her father instructed the butler to immediately call the attending physician now that Anastasia was awake. The butler complied. Her father expressed regret for not staying by her side even if it meant going against the king's orders, emphasizing the importance of their baby's safety. Mother, however, reassured saying, that was not important as long as her child was safe. Anastasia thinks, did I lose consciousness just because I used that much strength? It seems like there was a strong recoil, probably because I used it without proper preparation. Her mother apologized to Anastasia. She hoped that she would grow up quickly. Anastasia acknowledging the rarity of those who possess magical powers and expressing her desire not to harm others. The knights kneeled before Anastasia's, pledging loyalty to her. Anastasia, in her thoughts, observed all these people around her. His thoughts were interrupted by his father saying, They are the knights who will protect you with leaves. Isn't that reassuring? Anastasia thought continuously, Han Sarion, who attempted kidnapping in the incident of making this sedan, was a highly skilled operative. The son of a working couple at the Duke's residence, he had an unbearable burden. The two people struggled in the light. Seeing her parents spending a lot of money for her, she had foolish thoughts. Han Sarion schemed, during the year-end holiday, to kidnap someone and ask for money in return. Fortunately, her brother's friend discovered it and intervened correctly, and she heard from her parents that they were chased away with some injuries, calling it a very lenient decision or something like that. Anyway, she thought it was a good judgment for her sister, but she couldn't help but think that having 20 baby knights as guards was a bit excessive. Her father said they are all knights who have sworn allegiance to you, so please give them words of encouragement. Anastasia thought, No, father. What do you expect from a 6-month-old baby? In the first place, they won't be happy to receive encouragement from a baby, right? When she turned towards the knights, all the knights exclaimed with excitement, saying, Please, Lady of the Manor, please. Anastasia thought, It seems that's an atmosphere where it's impossible not to do it. And Anastasia said, Okay, I will do my best, as the Lady of the Manor. Thank you for your future support. After a month since the incident of assigning the night squad, the number of people in her room had increased. Outside the room, there were 2 more people. As her body grew, it became easier for her to read their movements. Even after just passing her first birthday, it should be relatively easy for her to gather information. However, she was only 7 months old. The last kidnapping was simply aimed at money. But still, having my family in a comfortable position is not a simple matter, Anastasia thought. On the day she was kidnapped, her mother and father went out with a rather uncomfortable look. Normally, they wouldn't both leave the house at the same time. As expected, with Duke Kamun's influence, there must be clearly hostile forces. Otherwise, there would be no reason to deploy such excessive guards for just babies living in the mansion. Should I just use some force? Anastasia pondered. But if I fall ill with a fever again, my family will worry. I don't want to see them worried like that. Still, I wonder if it's okay to just stay quiet like this. Not just anyone, but as someone with the duty to prevent the world from perishing. His thoughts were interrupted when someone asked from behind, "Is it urgent for our sibling to be like this?" Anastasia thought, "Whose voice is this?" Turning around, she saw her brother Damien and he said, "Come on, Anastasia, your brother is here." Anastasia crawled towards him quickly, while thinking to herself, "How did he sneak in?" Damien said, "Wow, how did you crawl in so quickly? Our Anastasia seems to be growing up too quickly." Meanwhile, two nearby maids whispered, "I don't mean to rush the talk of children and babies." Anastasia thought to herself, "You're making a different expression than usual." Damien said to Anastasia, "Here you are. My friend wants to see you. We met last time. Do you remember?" Anastasia thought, "Brother's friend, that guy from back then." And Anastasia said, "Wow." Damien said, "Then, would our Anastasia meet my friend just once?" Anastasia again said, "Wow." And Anastasia thought to herself, "It's been bothering me anyway. His magic is indeed magical. Even though he is clearly a stranger, there's a feeling of having met somewhere before. After going through many white days, you start encountering familiar faces even in different worlds. Regionally, each human soul has its own wavelength. Occasionally, when encountering such individuals, I felt a passing connection as if I had seen them in a previous life. But that young Duke isn't just inexperienced. There's something strange, a kind of longing feeling, as if prickling. What a good opportunity. I'll examine the origin of this feeling a bit." Damien thought, "Mikale did mention my companion. With her, after all." The butler said, "Duke, we've arrived." Duke Mikale said, "Already? I didn't realize how time flew." "You did well. Now then, shall we go to meet the lady of the manor?" Damien asked Mikale if he had kept his promise. Mikale replied affirmatively. Damien then reminded Mikale to be polite. Mikale assured Damien that he understood. Opening the door, Mikale greeted Anastasia, referring to her as the youngest princess. Anastasia thought to herself that Mikale had arrived. Mikale commented on how small Anastasia was. Anastasia privately pondered the fact that she had expected to remember something upon seeing Mikale again, but was unsure. "Well, there are a few people I've known for 2,000 years, but I'll recognize them right away." Damien questioned Mikale about his actions, stating that he hadn't even introduced himself yet. Mikale responded by saying that Anastasia was like a doll. Damien disagreed, asserting that Anastasia was a baby and a princess of the Duke's family. Anastasia thought to herself that the situation seemed oddly exciting and found it amusing how Damien and Mikale were behaving. She also couldn't believe that Damien was acting like a child, as she had always seen him as calm and righteous. Anastasia also noted that it was nice to see Damien looking his age. Mikale then offered to introduce himself, reaching out and taking Anastasia's hand, which confused both her and Damien. Mikale introduced himself as the Grand Duke of Leventis, stating that it was not his first time meeting Anastasia, but it was nice to meet with her in normal circumstances for the first time. Damien exclaimed that he hadn't even tried a back of the hand kiss yet. Anastasia thought to herself about Mikhail's identity as the sole successor to the Grand Duke of Leventis and how he had been spending a significant amount of time at her house since their first meeting. She explained that the current Grand Duke was occupied with political affairs, so they had decided to study together with their childhood friend, who was like an older brother. Anastasia also noted that the maid's recent interest was focused on Mikale, as they heard more about him than their own family. The maid exclaimed, Oh my, I guess you came today as well. Anastasia thought to herself, by the way, I thought you said you were only close to my brother. Mikale announced, baby, I'm home. Anastasia wondered, why do you keep coming to me? You came earlier than usual today. Mikale asked, have you been having a good time? Anastasia thought, what's this? Mikale apologized, oh sorry, did it splash? I'm meeting the princess and I can't just show up, so I've got to get cleaned up. Anastasia thought, well, that's nice of you to say. He really doesn't look like a 6-year-old. Mikale suggested, by the way, baby, why don't you take this and smile today? Anastasia thought, here we go again. When did Mikhail's gift offensive begin? A few days ago. Mikale asked the maids, why isn't the baby laughing? The maid replied, oh my God, little Duke, my lady's smile is not for everyone to see. That's right, you can only catch a glimpse of it after you've gotten to know her very well. Mikale questioned, really, after that day, Mikale began to bring what he thought was good. Damien stated, it's no use. Anastasia only smiles at her real brother. Laurentia claimed, I make her laugh so often. Thanks to my sister and my brother's challenge, Mikale grew competitive and he came to show me with every lace and jewelry. Anastasia thought to herself, he brings this to a baby as a gift. Mikale said, you're sighing. Anastasia thought, I think you've been growing slowly lately. Isn't it all because of me? I know it's a good plan because he doesn't even know how to use magic. Mikale thought, I think it'd be cute if I held her. But hey, it's human nature. Anastasia thought, I'm worried about the lack of walking and babbling. The people in this house didn't even bother to ask. This is the baby's 100th career. Is it okay to be this late? Anastasia lost her balance due to the weight of the gem in her hooded cloak. The maid said worriedly, oh young lady. Mikale rushed forward to save her, but only managed to save her head from hitting the ground. The maid asked, are you all right, miss? Anastasia thought, I lost my balance, even at the weight of my head. Mikale said, I'm sorry, baby. I just wanted to give it to you, but I didn't know you would trip over it. Anastasia thought, what? No wonder it became heavy the moment I stood up. You put a ruby in my hooded cloak. How dare you? How dare you embarrass me? Anastasia said. I hate you. Mikale asked Anastasia, do you hate me? Anastasia replied, go away. Mikale said, I told you to leave. I was wrong. You'll look cute if you hold a big ruby. The maids said to each other, really fascinating. How does he understand the young lady's words so well? The other maid responded, that's what I'm saying. Anastasia thought to herself, so it's even more frustrating. My family cannot even understand my babbling, and now this guy is interpreting it. Annie and Oba are apparently upset. Maybe they lack parenting skills. They can't understand what I'm saying. I know you saved me and showed kindness, but I can't make my family more upset. Mikale asked Anastasia, do you want to walk, baby? I'll help you. Anastasia replied, Bio. Mikale said, I don't need it, but you're surprisingly good at talking, baby. Your mouth is tiny. How can you talk so well? Anastasia thought, it's annoying when you keep saying this. Mikale said, I can really help. I was able to walk in half a year. Anastasia thought, half a year? I can't even stand properly, let alone walk after 7 months. Mikale said, I've been really good at it since I was a baby. Do you really not need it? Anastasia thought, it's ridiculous, but to be honest, it's amusing. Actually, growing up so normally like this is a first for me. I have no tricks as a baby. I want to quit the life of eating baby food, but at the same time, I want to ask for help from this annoying little one. Mikale said, I can teach you well. Anastasia was taken aback by Mikhail's smile and thought, what's with that smile? Could it be now? Are you imitating Obi? I'm definitely not accepting help after imitating Obi. It's because I need to grow up quickly, that's it. The maids exclaimed to each other, oh my, as they looked at both of them. Anastasia thought to herself, this too, it's a new face. Tell me quickly. Mikale said, I'll do it. I'll help you stand, and I can even help you walk. The maid said, oh my, the young lady is standing properly and putting strength into her legs. Anastasia thought, making it so easy to stand like this. Mikale said, I was right, wasn't I? I said I will help you stand. Anastasia thought, really, what are you doing now? Mikale said, since you are standing, you should be able to walk, right? Let's give it a try. Anastasia thought, wait, there's no way I can walk right away. Anastasia thought, I'm really standing, aren't I? At last, the maid said, the young lady's first steps, to witness the young lady's first steps with my own eyes. At that moment, Damien entered the room and shouted upon seeing Anastasia standing. Anastasia asked herself, when did the lesson end? Mikale said, look at this, the youngest lady is walking so well holding my hand. Anastasia thought, are you making fun of me now? Let go of this for now. Mikale said, no, baby, if you keep going, there will be another thud. Hearing that, Damien became shocked and moved forward and picked up Anastasia. Damien asked Anastasia, did you fall? How did you fall? The maid said, it wasn't a big fall, she didn't cry or anything. Mikale exclaimed, Damien, it's because of me. I was trying to give a gift to my youngest lady, but his speech was interrupted by Damien, who interjected, my sister fell, was it because of you? Mikale reassured him, it wasn't a big fall, and her head is fine. Curious, Damien asked, what are you saying? In a stern tone, Damien declared, Mikale Leventis, don't come to see our Anastasia in the future. Mikale pleaded with Damien, I didn't do it on purpose. It's really not that bad. Damien shouted, it hurts. If you weren't here, Anastasia wouldn't have fallen. There wouldn't have been any trouble. Ignoring Mikale's explanation, Damien simply turned his head away. Anastasia pondered, what? It turned into a more serious fight than I thought. Mikale mused, yeah, having a younger sister seems nice. Anastasia wondered, how did things get so tangled like this? It would have been better if both of them were just ordinary children. Both of them were more cunning than their peers, even more cunning than naive adults. They didn't know how to handle this situation like children. Leaving it unresolved would only make things more complicated. Though reluctant, there was no other choice but to resolve it with that method. Damien loves reading books to his younger siblings after class. He enjoys the sound of reading books and takes a nap with his siblings who fall asleep while he sings lullabies. His favorite routine is enjoying snacks together, all synchronized with Laurencia's accurate belly clock. However, ever since Mikale saved the youngest sibling, Damien willingly gave up his bedtime routine. Mikale, with only a busy grandfather as family, found the sight of the newly born baby very fascinating. But being 6 years old, he wasn't sure how to approach the baby, feeling closer to a sword. There was no malice in Mikale's mischievous pranks, he simply didn't know. Anastasia feels that it's her fault that things turned out this way. She believes she must have said something annoying that day. When Mikale asked if she was telling him to go away, Mikale questioned if she had called his name. That one word became a source of trouble. Feeling hurt that she called Mikale's name before the families, everyone spent the whole day calling his name to comfort him. Moreover, since Mikale stole her first steps, Anastasia wonders how upset her brother must be. So, there's a bit of self-blame for her too. She tried not to resort to this method, but there's no other way. Anastasia started crying loudly, and the maid asked what was wrong. Damien asked worriedly what had happened to Anastasia. Meanwhile, Anastasia continued crying. Damien asked Mikale what she was saying. Mikale replied that the baby was afraid and saying no. Damien apologized to Anastasia, acknowledging that he was wrong. Anastasia thought to herself that they should apologize to each other instead of her. She then tightly grabbed Damien's shirt to get his attention and pointed towards Mikale. Mikale apologized for putting Anastasia in danger. Damien also apologized, admitting that he had told Mikale not to come because he was worried about him getting along with his sibling. Mikale explained that he didn't have a younger sibling, so he didn't know how to handle a baby. He asked Damien to teach him. Damien felt bothered by what he had said earlier. Mikale insisted, "It's not like that, I really didn't know. If you teach me, I'll follow your lead. You seem to have manners with the youngest lady, and you said not to touch without permission, so I won't touch her without permission." Damien pondered, "So, you don't just grab her suddenly?" Mikale stated, "I'll ask you, Damien. I really don't know what's dangerous." Damien responded, "Of course. It's just a friend's request." Mikale asked Damien if it was okay for him to interact with Anastasia. Damien agreed. Mikale expressed relief. Anastasia thought to herself that Damien and Mikale were straightforward and square children. She also noticed that she was tired from crying and that her eyelids were heavy. Both Damien and Mikale agreed that the youngest lady seemed sleepy and suggested that she take a short nap. They wished her good night. Anastasia thought to herself, "I must have fallen asleep in Obi's arms. Where am I? Is this a dream? I need to wake up quickly." Suddenly, she heard a voice pleading for help. She turned around and saw multiple chains and cloth encircled around someone. A voice emerged from the inside, saying, "Please, help me." Anastasia thought, "What is this? My consciousness feels hazy. My body is being pulled towards something over there. There's no way this could be a real existence. What on earth is happening?" The voice from the chain said, "I am your only understanding." Anastasia thought, "My hand is moving on its own. Please stop. How can you claim to understand me? Have you been reborn 100 times or something?" As the chain shattered, a girl in white clothes appeared before her in a bright light. The girl said, "Don't forget Anastasia. I'm your only." The girl in the white dress was about to touch her face, and she stopped midway and said, "Also, a comforting place." Anastasia then heard the voice of Mikale, Hey baby, wake up." Anastasia thought, "Mom, Dad, and my older brother and sister too, why are they scared?" Her mother said, "Anastasia, our baby. You can't imagine how worried we were all week, with the fever not going down." Anastasia thought, "Did I suffer for a whole week?" Laurentia said, "Your sister will take the pain for you, so please don't get sick anymore, okay?" Damien said to Laurentia, "If you're going to be sick, then I should get sick instead." Their father said to both Damien and Laurentia, "For our baby to be strong, it's better if the sturdy dad gets sick." Turning to Mikale, Anastasia's father said, "Thank you, Mikale." "It's all thanks to you," Mikale said. "It's nothing special, Your Excellency. It was something I could do." Anastasia's mother said, "In times like these, you shouldn't decline Mikale. During the challenging week when Anastasia was unwell, you even went all the way to the distant Grand Lord to get the heirloom, didn't you? It seems like Anastasia has been cursed by an unknown name." When the high priest said that, everyone must have been so surprised. "Mikale, thanks to the heirloom you brought, Anastasia could wake up. Thank you, Mikale." Anastasia thought, "Even if it's a distant Grand Lord, it couldn't have been a short distance. I've incurred a debt to Mikale again, following the last time. But a curse this time. I've lived many lives and became immune to these tricks, but to be lured into a dream is not enough. But there's also someone who dares to take away my reserve strength without hesitation. As expected, the 100th life won't be smooth either. This place was crazy that I forgot my fate for a while, the absolute principle of my life. I need to grow quickly so I can use my strength properly. Give as much depth as you find and endure." Her thoughts were interrupted when her mother said, "Anastasia, please grow up healthy, please." Anastasia thought, "But before that, for my family, being the youngest comes first." From then on, for about a month, she fell asleep with a strong enchantment for the first time in thousands years, of thanks to her body growing reasonably well. Using her strength only resulted in a slight fever, Fortunately, there were no more encounters with unwelcome guests. As time passed, 9 months after birth, her father said, "Come here, our youngest." Meanwhile, Anastasia stood with the support of a chair. She thought, "I can do it. I can walk on my own." One step at a time, carefully. Then she lost her balance and about to fell down, but her father caught her. He said, "Our youngest?" Anastasia thought, "Did you see? I took 3 steps on my own. This is still the least I can do. But did you see how amazing I am?" Her father said to the knights, "Did everyone see our youngest walking alone?" One of the knights said, "It was truly an elegant sight." Other knights said, "It was such a moving and remarkable scene, to be able to witness this." Anastasia thought, "No, what's so remarkable about just taking 3 steps? I did it, but it's true that it's a big improvement. As my body grew, using magic became easier." Her mother asked maid, "How should I choose a dress for the April festival?" "Thanks to that, I learned that there's a festival in April." Mikale said, "I will visit the Grand Duke's residence. Even if it's late, I'll go in mid-April." Anastasia thought, Mikhail's Grand Duke visit schedule. Damien stated, "This time, the Endra Blank Viscount will go to a very historic place." And she also learned about the noble titles and history of this house. She was worried about not growing up quickly, but now that information gathering has become more efficient, I feel relieved. Her father asked the knights, "By the way, now that our youngest can walk on her own, or the rest of you properly training?" Anastasia thought, "What does training for baby steps and knights have to do with each other? My father is confusing me." One knight said, "It may not compare to the lady, but everyone is making an effort." Another knight said, "I'll work even harder so as not to fall behind the youngest lady's progress." Her father said, "I heard that during the last move from Viscount to Grand Duke, there was someone who fell behind. Now that it's spring, it's time to check the skills of the knights after a long time." The knight asked, "My lord, are you suggesting?" Her father said, "During the April festival, hold a martial arts competition. Everyone, be prepared." Anastasia thought, "Father, are you using the excuse of a business evaluation right now?" Her father said, "And the protagonist of that festival is Anastasia," making Anastasia confused. Laurentia entered the room and said, "Shusha." She hugged her little sister. "You are the princess of this festival." This concludes the second part of the manhwa. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for further updates.